Hi there and welcome to Bustthenet. Yes, on today's show we bring you another episode of Game Changer. It's a fun scenario where I put myself into your club. You send me a save. This is available to people on my Discord group, and they will send me their saves, and I will take a look at them, and I will look at whether or not we can do things slightly differently. I'm not going to change the way you play. I mean, where I see there to be an obvious issue, I will try my best to help you out. But in most cases, most of the saves I receive from my Discord group hardly ever needed to change anything. With small tweaks here and there, I find that's all that's needed. Well, let's take a quick look at this club and see how they've done. It's a season, we're quite far in, 2024, so you've been in the club for some time. And during that time, the club has done pretty well. In the league, you finished runners-up 2023, and you've come close many times in the last couple of seasons. Won the European Super Cup, the UEFA Cup, the French Cup. You've done pretty well. I see that you were relegated at one point. I suspect you were relegated at one point, and then you bounced back again. Auxerre have done relatively well since you've taken over. You were in League 2, then you got yourself promoted, and then you've been in League 1 all this time. And since you've taken over the club, you've done consistently well. So Martin Balmer has done a pretty good job. As a manager, I see that you've got a few of the badges that you need. Let's look at training. Now, I noticed the first thing I do, I take a big picture view first up. Now, this is October, right? So your season has just started. This is not good. There's no point giving them 2 days rest. If you want to try and avoid injuries, rotate them, lighten their individual workloads, but you don't need to do this. So just remove this and you get an extra day of training. It's very important because you want them to develop over time, and it's not necessary. The more valuable one is rest day after match, but you don't need to give them 2 rest days. That just takes away from training, because if I'm looking at your training, your entire team is on medium. Let's remove the filter and look at all the positions. They're all on medium. If I go to any one of them and I go to their training, you'll notice that they have an intensity level. You can raise this to heavy, and you get a bit more bite in their training. Of course, you can give them more focus. Just to see what their individual load looks like, right? So this is that's the wing back, right? I hope I remember this guy again. If you notice now, his workload is still medium, so that you have room to develop him, and you can give him increase his intensity level, get him to work on additional focuses, and that's actually the best way to develop your players. You want to hit as far as I'm concerned, right? Workload for the whole team is going to be on the training, the main training screen. This is going to be the individual training workloads. As long as a player is not very heavy, you reduce the risk of injury, and you want them to develop. So I could definitely go in and give everybody individual training. We can still push things. We can still push it to high. Continue one more day, and let's see the effect this has on the whole team. It's something that I don't see a lot of people doing. Okay, there we go. We've got a few heavies. That's nice. Our little chap here who's doing his individual intensity training as well, he's doing okay. So you can see some of these players, they can afford to be pushed even more. So that's enough. I mean, you couldn't. If I were to give Diogo Queiroz an individual training, so he's training as a central defender, we give him positioning, his workload goes to heavy. So this is perfect. We get them working on, we get each one of them on heavy, and this will help the team out, and these boys will develop nicely over time. The other thing you want to make sure, I don't do this enough in my own game, so please don't be me. Okay, so what happens if you train a player default? He he will train in the role you've designated for his matches and he will improve. But sometimes we want to know what attributes are being hit. So here, if you've got Diego Torres, just looking at his attributes alone, fantastic physicals. I mean, apart from natural fitness and his average stamina, but look at this: decision making 17, passing 16, vision 16. This guy is made to be a playmaker. What do we want to improve? Definitely first touch. You've done the right thing here. You've gone for first touch. We can push him up to heavy, and then we can look for something that will work on improving him. We then hit the attributes, right? Then we look at the attributes. You've got dribbling, finishing, first touch. These are going to be improved. Long shots, don't really care about it. Tackling, maybe. But if you notice, the rest of the attributes are being hit. So if you choose another, let's go for roaming playmaker, this will remove flair. But I think that flair is a good attribute, so you want to, if you can get a chance to improve that. Ultimately, this is a numbers game. I mean, it's been that way since the game was introduced, way back in God knows when I was a wee little lad, Yeah, all of us, some of you were still in diapers when this game was being played the first time. So you can imagine how old I am. But generally what I would say is this is a numbers game. So if you can improve the attributes in the areas that you want to play them in, go for it. And this is the other thing about the system. Over time, we're always going to get some tactics or some systems that do better than other systems. Like this season, naturally, 3-man attacks are very strong. Even the AI's 3-man attacks are very strong. This puts a higher burden on people to go out there and set up their tactics in the right way. But if you set up your tactic in a balanced way, chances are you'll always do well. I mean, it's numbers at the end of the day. You get the right numbers, you develop the players who overperform. And that's been the way, because as a human player, you're going to have more options than the AI does. I mean, you're always going to have more options. The AI doesn't do PIs nearly as much as we do. I mean, in the game, all of us are crazy little mini Guardiolas and Mourinho's running around. Okay, so we developed this, we fixed your training. Now let's look at your team report. And this is phenomenal. I mean, I haven't seen this kind of a team report in a while. Look at this Abe Lincoln method. You're doing okay. What about the comparison to the rest of the league? Now, I do this most of the time, but generally, when you've been playing the game as long as me, you'll probably go 15 without even thinking for defenders positioning. Let's check this out. Where's the defenders? This is mentals, rather. So we go for defenders, mentals. We're aiming for 15. I was right, 15. So if you aim for 15, you should be fine. These are the averages. Your team's mentals, technicals, mentals are very good. Then the next attribute I look at, of course, are going to be physicals. Yes, I always go in that order: mental, physicals, then technical, because you want the player to know what to do, and then you want the player to be able to get there quickly to do it, and then finally to do the task. So that's how the human behavior is. You could describe how we do things. We want to do something, then the question becomes, then how quickly can we do it, and then how well can we do it? So you don't go and focus on technical straight away, because I've seen people, they go like, oh my God, he's got say 18 tackling, I want him. There's no point. What if his desire, his determination is very low? That's my biggest problem with Kingstonian at the moment. Some of the mentals are really bad. I seen it. I see it in games when we go 2 goals down, they don't come back. All right. Okay. So attributes wise, your team is doing, I would say, pretty good compared to the league. Now, what about? Dynamics. Okay, there's been a small change with dynamics, right? The Godfather effect is still there, but they've toned it down a bit. So just remember one thing when it comes to your hierarchy. In your hierarchy, you're going to have these 3 players. If any of these 3 players are available for you to go and talk to any of these players, if they are available and they're the ones coming to you, then the Godfather effect is still in play. So this is all you need to remember. And sometimes you'll end up having to talk to players, especially those players who say they don't have enough game time. They hardly, I mean, players that come to you and say, I don't have enough game time. And you never, he's like, he's not, he's like a second string player. So just tell him that you're going to transfer list him. He's going to react differently, and he's going to come back to you and say, boss, I'm willing to stay here and be happy. So yeah, so remember, you have those options. So you've got quite a few players here. I like your dynamics. They're pretty solid, and you've developed a very good core side. Okay, now what about scouting? Well, scouting, do you have a short list? I like this. This is fantastic. This is the best thing about FM18. This screen. I use this a lot because in the old days I had pen and paper. Now I just have to keep doing my short list, and then I have players in, and at any one time if I want to, if I need to go out and get players, it's not too tough. So you keep this going and you'll be fine. Your world knowledge is also very impressive, 44%. Okay, what about I'm not too familiar with the rules in the French league. So I'm just going to familiarize myself with some of your rules to see whether you've got any interesting work permit rules. Well, you're in the EU, so that's all nations in Africa, excluding Egypt and Libya. Okay. All right, fine. You got basically no restrictions as well. I mean, this is not too bad. Okay, so you have a maximum of 4 non-EU players that you can use in your team. Simple. All right. Okay. Now let's look at your schedule so far. Okay. You got off to a decent start, and then this little thing happened. All right, I'm going to look at your tactics now. Let's look at goals. Where do they come from? This is not too bad. I'm pretty impressed with this. Not many people can achieve this. That means you've got a good build-up play from the middle as well as the flanks. It's a very all-round tactic, and your assists, a lot of them come from crosses, through balls, not that many. So what we're going to try and do is try and see whether you can have a more you want to have a tactic that has pretty much like maybe 50% here and about 50-50, or you try and get goals from other sources as well. So this is something that we can improve on. Then what about stats, team detail? This is something that I like to do. Average possession, you've done 54.5%. That's pretty high and pretty good. What about the other thing that I normally want to see is this shots on target percentage. Now 46% is pretty okay. When you have a 34% as a shot on target percentage, then what you have to do is you have to try and improve the number. This is not good. So we have to think about the quality of chances that you're creating. So if I'm going to now look at your games, you're probably going to have fair few. So you got lots of shots on target, but your shots on target percentage is only 46%. We need to improve that number. Okay. What about your ability to deal with threats? Headers won ratio. Okay. So that's good. Okay, so quality of chances, that's something that we have to address. So now I know what to look for when I'm looking at your tactics and your matches. So this is a match you played against Lorient, and we're just going to look at the shots off target. This is Auxerre. There's lots of shots off target. So if I want to go into detail, I'll go into every single game and then I'll analyze every single game. Here we're looking at how you build up play. You can see here, you've got quite a number of players in support, but Samu takes a long shot from range instead of squaring the ball to one of the other players. But having said that, it's a very tight situation that he finds himself in. Okay, so we look for other matches as well. Against Olympique Marseille, do you have the same problem again? Match stats show only 2 shots on target. This is from Olympique Marseille, which is good. I mean, you kept them at bay for long periods of time. Here, you've got some very good chances inside the box. This is off target from Ramon Graf inside the box. He misses a glorious chance, though. This was a corner. Corners are such, yeah. This was a header, not easy. Then we got other chances. So what I end up doing is I end up going through every single highlight, corner, another corner again. And then this, so all your chances that were inside the box, it seems that they all came from corners, or except for this one. You guys picked it up. This high up the pitch crossing, not very good quality chances. Okay, so it looks like since a big part of your game comes from crosses, let's now go back to the team report, squad comparison. Let's just look at your attackers, strikers. Physical jumping reach of your strikers, highest in the league at 14. Okay, what about the defenders in the league? Jumping reach for the defense in the league is Olympique Lyon with 14.33. So you need to get higher than your strikers need to have very good jumping reach to deal with crosses inside the box. So what do we have now with your strikers? Let's look at this. I don't think I have jumping reach inside there because I hardly ever look at jumping reach. 16, not too bad. All right, one player, 16, that's it. All right, so you only have one player who can deal with crosses inside the box. His name is Ramon Graf. His finishing is pretty poor at 10, and he's not even a striker. He's a defender. You're not going to have a lot of great chances because of if you've developed a crossing game. So we need to find other ways of playing this game. Okay, now let's look at your midfielders. What other options do you have? Here I'm now looking at off the ball. So I'm looking at off the ball. I've got Malcolm, he's got fantastic off the ball. This tells me that if I can get this player in space, he's going to do wonders. Dribbling of 15, first touch of 15, balance of 13. I see an inverted winger in front of me. Okay, not too bad. Then we've got another player here. Dribbling of 16, acceleration 13, first touch 18, balance 13. Okay. All right, so we can create a tactic. We need to create a system where these guys get into space, where they deliver quality chances into the box, or they take teams on. So that's how I would look at this team. Now, would I change the way you play? It depends on what you've been doing. But I want to remain true to how you're playing, right? So here you've got a 4-1-4-1. You've got several versions of the 4-1-4-1. It looks like you've got one where you have complete wing backs. Complete wing backs tend to do their own thing, right? So it's something we have to bear in mind. You've got DLP as well, and then you've got a wide midfielder on support. What you're doing is, this is one of the reasons why you're not getting a lot of chances in and around the box. Very simply put, by the time you get there, you're camping and another team has all their players back. So you're going to have a lot of issues with breaking teams down, especially defensive teams. You are looking at hitting early crosses, but how do you hit early crosses with a wing back like this? Because this guy's going to probably sit narrow. He's going to leave space for this guy. This is okay. But this guy over here, by the time you get in, you're going to have issues. Let's just take one of your games, for example. Let's just look at Lorient and watch the highlights of this game. So, let's look at key highlights between you and Lorient. So here we are playing from right. You are playing from right to left. Okay, so I'm now looking for... Okay, you got to throw in inside the... Okay, I'm not going to bother with throw-ins. Let's wait for the next highlight. And then when you build play up, okay, we watch the boys. This guy's running into space. He's a complete wing back, but as you can tell, he's going to be a bit isolated. Cousins to Cubero. Again, they're not going to turn to these wing backs. They're just there for support, and that's it. Your complete wing backs, by the time your complete wingers even get into play too high up the pitch, you're also playing narrow. Narrow will tell the team not to use the complete wing backs nearly as much as using to play the ball through the middle. You see, you've got these complete wing backs, but they're not being used in the game. It's because of your narrow settings. So if you want to use those complete wingbacks in the game, you got that. Yeah. You got to do more. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna tweak this tactic. You can see from the highlights alone, those complete wingbacks aren't really pushing up. So what can we do? In your other tactics, you got wingbacks and attack, and then you've got this. What I would suggest is this guy becomes an inverted wing on attack. Just for one of your tactics, we'll just mess with this tactic, right? Complete wingback on attack. We'll turn this guy into a wingback on support. Then we'll turn this guy. I love the halfback, so I'm going to turn this guy into a halfback. We're going to turn this guy into a deep lying playmaker on support. Yeah, this guy is on his own. We don't want him to be on his own. We want him to be part of the group. Yeah, let's not leave him in isolation here. Okay, so we got we got this guy attacking this way. We can turn this guy into a wingback on attack. Let's not worry too much about any. Okay, we'll tell him to close down more. We'll tell this guy to close down more. Wait, hold on. I want to play a deeper game, right? So, okay, we'll fewer risky passes, dribble less. Okay. All right. We will get this guy, okay, tackle hard. We'll get these guys to tackle hard. He's got shoot less, triple less, close down more, tackle harder, mark tighter, pass it shorter, few risky passes. We got this guy as a wide playmaker. We'll just ask him to be a wide midfielder on support. We've got this guy here, and then we'll tell this lad here to tackle harder, dribble less, shoot less often. Okay, so he's here. This guy's gonna overlap this way. In fact, this guy can be an advanced playmaker. On attack, will push him forward. This guy will tuck inside and cut inside with the ball. All right, so he's going to tuck inside. This guy is going to push this way, and this guy. So what we're going to try and create is movement, lots of movement in the opposite end of the pitch with this tactic. And we're going to play it on control. We're going to go on structured. The other thing is low block. We'll play on a normal defensive line with offside trap. We want to use our wingers, fullbacks. So we're going to ask them to look for overlap. We'll just start like this for some of our matches and see how this goes. I'm the kind of player that believes that you need to create a good defense if you're going to worry about scoring, and we were defending very well for large periods of the game. You managed to score a glorious chance from a counter attack where your central midfielder literally walked the ball into the back of the net. Very good start, and it was quite a lot of domination that you had throughout this match against Monaco. We created a fair few shots in and around the box. I like the fact that your defenders are strong in the air, so we can invite teams to go down the flanks, and with the strong boys at the back, you can win headers and give yourself a chance at lots of counter-attacking opportunities. My goal is to improve your shot on target percentage because it's pretty low. Now, we did have a few shots from outside the box early in the game, but we improved the shot on target percentages when we went to fluid and got more players involved in the transitions. 8 out of 13 shots on target. We're doing a lot better than we were earlier in the season. Now the question is to tune this a bit more for our next game. For our next match, we were camping in the opponent's half for long periods of time, and this was the goal. We wanted to get more players involved in transitions. The fluid shape certainly helped, and we created a very, very good chance inside the box. Our next test, your Champions League match away to United. Your team isn't doing very well. They needed a win. So we went to Old Trafford with the same tactics, standard fluid, but a few tweaks this time. We didn't want the attacking playmaker to close down more, and we removed the close down more instruction on the DLF on support. We kept the rest of the tactic as it was and played on standard fluid without the work ball into box instruction, because we didn't want situations where we lose the ball in dangerous positions and we give possession to United at dangerous times. Strategy now, play with a low to medium block and defend well and get set for counter-attacks. We did pretty well, scoring our first goal in the 14th minute. Playing with a low to medium block, the defenders are going to be staying tucked in, and United would frequently end up running into traffic, which is exactly how we set the tactic up so that we could hit United on the break. I haven't changed your set piece routines because they're pretty good, and you double your lead from a set piece as well. When you're playing against top teams, sometimes you need to have a good block and you need to work on your set piece routines, which your team did for the match against United. So let's talk about this tactic. We play with something I like to call a medium block, right? It's a bit harder to pull off in the game, but the whole goal is to try and win the ball somewhere around midfield. We don't want to win it too close to our own half because then it's dangerous. We're inviting the team onto us. So this is like a cross between a low block and a high block. The only difference is that I probably won't get the guys up top to go chasing the keeper. If we only have one striker, I want him to be free to receive the ball and hold it up. But we still have prevent short goalkeeper distribution. So when the goalkeeper plays the ball out, we try to cover that one player, but by telling him not to close out much more, we prevent this guy from running around like a headless chicken. Okay, then we also had close down more on this guy, close down more on this guy. I didn't want this guy to close down more. I didn't want the playmaker to be shut out. Playmaker, if he's running all over the place, he might not be able to link plays up together. And Luis played a very good game today. Valdivia did the closing down. We left the halfback alone as well. So we don't want this guy to be running all over the shop because we want him to anchor and to be a very good passing outlet for these two guys. So he had a good game too. The wing backs, left and right, were told to mark tighter, close down more, and tackle harder. So these guys did the job, except for this guy. We released him from his tackle harder as well as his mark tighter. There's no real point asking him to tackle harder because there's a strong possibility he might get into yellow card because he's going to come tracking back. So these were conscious decisions that we made. Sweeper and support, pass it shorter, distribute centre backs, and take short kicks. Now, the more interesting thing was my defense. How I used the defensive line in this game. The defensive line was slightly deeper. We did not play work ball into box because against United, you lose the ball in the middle third, you're in trouble. So, no. We pass the ball, we look for crosses, and let's try and score. I don't like using hit early crosses because it's really wishing on a star. Play out of defense and pass into space. The boys built the play up from defense to midfield and then look for those passes. Worked. Fairly wide. Yes, we wanted our wing backs involved. Now, if you play on very narrow, your wing backs aren't going to be involved so much. Here we played with fairly wide. Wing backs were involved, especially during the transitions. We didn't go for use tighter marking, be more disciplined, and stick to positions. We kept it really simple and it worked. The boys went to Old Trafford, smacked United around, and won that 2-0. We only had one long shot. You only had 3 shots on target, and you only had 5 shots in total. We kept United at bay for the majority of the match. If you look at the analysis, once again, it's something that I aim for. You want shots inside the box. So this, I like this, I even like this because it's inside the box. But this was outside the box, not too bad. Shot was safe, so we had like 4 shots inside the box. Very nice. United, on the other hand, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shots inside the box. That's all they had. But a lot of them went wide, and most of them were simple ones that went straight to the keeper. Well, I hope you enjoyed this edition of Game Changer. If you have any questions, you can always look me up on Twitter at Bustthenet or addicted2fm.com, my website. Once again, I'd like to thank all my patrons for their continued support of the channel. You guys make these kind of shows possible for the rest of the community. You guys take care, have a good one, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.